So welcome to the Green Room. First episode, special guest, Mr. David Petty, everybody. You should put in some like... cheers for coming, Dave.
Mate, I tried to get out of it, but it just wasn't happening.
Well, you weren't my first choice, to be fair. So,
yeah, I know.
You know...
See in a bit, am I?
You got to get out of here. No, I'm joking. Not being my first choice.
Wow.
No, cheers for coming. You've been sleeping.
Yeah, do a lot of sleeping nowadays.
It's because you're working nights.
Yeah, I like the money at the end of the month.
I should probably tell everybody how we met. When you were a wee lad.
Couch like this.
Baby oil. Feathers. We met. Were you 18?
It sounds creepy.
It was.
Yeah, about 18.
At our place of employment years ago. Dave was a cleaner. That's basically the end of that story, isn't it?
Yeah.
And moved away, came back, hench. Used to be a scrawny little runt. And here he is now. Founder and runner, is that a word? Of MBI, Mind, Body and Iron. So, this is the Green Room. And I'm not a expert on anything. It's all my own opinions. It's all probably a load of nonsense. But hopefully it'll be entertaining in some way. Tell us more about MBI, Dave.
Mind, Body and Iron. That was a fun thing to start. It was more for me for anyone else, even through the whole thing. And it was all about just quitting everything silly that I was doing.
What were you doing, Dave?
I was addicted, mate. Addicted to everything. Nah, I was like really, really in a down place within everything in my life. Everything just really went downhill and I just didn't care anymore about anything.
Because when I knew you years ago, when you were here before, you liked the odd smoke, didn't you?
Yeah.
But other than that, that was it. And then you went away, came back, and in that time, you had it had ballooned into other things, hadn't it?
Yeah, it went really south. I had a really good job up there as well, and to the point where I didn't have any money every month, and it was silly amounts of money going through weekend endeavours and whatnot, and takeaways. I got so fat as well.
Well, that's what's funny, because I remember seeing you at the Welly. That time you turned up and you'd always had a Dr. Evil style haircut and head shave. And then you turned up and you put on weight. And I remember thinking you looked really well. And then it was after that, I think, that things went a bit bad. Because we had... And then next time I saw you, I remember Paul, our friend Paul, saying, have you seen Freak Show? Freak Show, by the way, folks, is a name Dave adopted. Was it because of Napoleon Dynamite?
I think so. But I took it on. It used to be a cartoon on TV called Freakazoid. I tried to get Paul to watch it, and Paul watched it, I think, on YouTube, like a little clip of it, and that's where that came from.
And then he just nicked it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so you... he said, have you seen Freak Show? He's down. He goes, he looks like Johnny Bravo. He's massive. And I couldn't believe it, because you weren't skinny, skinny, were you? But you weren't like you are now. And... yeah, I remember seeing you and what? But yeah, totally different person. So, I know, but no one else does. I suppose you kind of replaced all those other things with working out and...
Basically, I switched one addiction for another addiction. And just so happens it was a healthy addiction, which turned into a 4-year addiction, which is quite mad for me because other than one or two things, I've never really stuck with anything all my life. My brother calls me the fad man. I
know people like that.
And he used to go in my room and there'd be like a drum kit and then an air rifle and then I don't know, just like all sorts of different pool cue, all sorts of different things that I wanted to be really good at, and like I do for about a few days and then just get a bit bored of it and move on to the next thing. So 4 years of going to the gym pretty much religiously every other day was like
big deal.
It was a big deal for me.
I think everyone does that though. I do that with things, or I'll have the full intention of doing something. Weights. my multi gym in the garage.
We're still waiting.
Yeah, it's covered in things. Well, to be fair, I was doing it recently. I did 2 weeks solid, which is a long time for me, and then it only takes one thing for me to I don't know, to almost give me an excuse. And I think with anything, it becomes a habit not doing something. And then when you start something new, unless it's something you really, really love and you can't find enough time in the day to do, you have to make it a habit to do it. And it's so hard to do it.
Yeah, totally.
So I still haven't figured out how to do that with weights. I kind of found it with running.
Yeah.
But then with running, I found it, you saw the gains in inverted commas. You saw them a lot quicker. You know, you were running further or you were running faster almost every other time you ran. But with weights, it takes so long to actually change your body shape.
Yeah, it's like anything. You see progression, and you want to chase that, don't you? As long as you can see some sort of result for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like, wow, if I've been doing it 2 weeks and I look like this, imagine what I'll look like in another 2 weeks. And
exactly.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never kind of...
You lost loads of weight.
Well, I did. I kind of think I've knackered my my digestive system up with that diet. So I said to Dave 3 years ago, Dave, I want to get in shape. I didn't want to get big. I didn't want to get head.
3 years ago.
It was 3 years ago in May.
Wow.
Just gone. I said to Dave, I want to get in shape. Don't want to go mental. I just want to lose my wobbly bits.
Don't look like me.
No, I couldn't. I could not put in that amount of time. Flex. But I said I want to do that. So he says, yeah, sure, okay. I said, can you come up with a plan for me? You know what you're doing. He says, yeah, okay. So he comes up to the house, piece of paper. I want you to do this workout this day, this workout that day, and so on.
It was only 3 days a week I get to work out, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I wanted something that was, easy to commit to and sort of sustainable. And being in the gym for an hour every day, to me, isn't sustainable. It's a mixture of laziness for me and genuinely just not having the time to do it. Working shifts and having other things, that take up your time. So... yeah, 3 workouts a day, but he said, I want you to lose some weight because obviously you don't want to be building muscle behind fat. Yeah. And yeah. So,
I want big boobs.
Yeah, bigger than I've got. So he said, I want you to come off carbs, I want you to come off sugar for 4 weeks. Well, no, actually, no, you didn't. You said, so I want you to come off carbs and sugar for week, 2 weeks, right? And lose some body fat. I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, so you do this and do that and do that. 2 minutes later, yeah, so seriously, you come off carbs and sugar for 2-3 weeks, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, it was 1 or 2 weeks a minute ago. And I'm not even exaggerating. By the end of that conversation, it was like, no, honestly, mate, you come off carbs and sugar 3-4 weeks, 4 weeks. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute. But I didn't realise how hard that was going to be at the beginning. Because weirdly, the first thing I thought of was cutting sugar out of my tea. I swear to God, I didn't think of fruit. I didn't think of chocolate. Maybe I did think of chocolate and I thought...
I think you thought of alcohol as well.
Yeah.
But you didn't think of that till after you thought, oh, wow, there's sugar in alcohol.
Yeah, exactly. But you kind of saved that by saying, oh, you can still drink, but drink shorts with soda water and all that kind of thing. And but in my mind, I just thought, sugar in my tea, cut that out. I don't eat a lot of sweets and chocolate anyway. Biscuits, that's fine. And but I didn't realise how hard that first week especially was going to be. Looking at packets to see what the carbohydrate content was. And I can't have that. That's one of my favourite things. I can't have that now for 4 weeks. And we even
the crap that they put in foods, like,
yeah,
it's mad, isn't it?
Well,
you don't even notice till you start looking.
You don't. But what's funny about my situation is that anyone that knows me or has known me for a long time will know that I was an absolute beanpole when I was younger. I was so self-conscious, just being 6'3" and weighing about 10 stone. I would have killed to be able to just put on a bit of muscle or anything. I was so self-conscious, And I remember saying to people, I cannot imagine having to check food packets for calories and stuff like this. I can eat what I want. And then everyone was saying, you'll get to 25 and you'll start putting on weight. Didn't happen. It was about 28, I suppose. And
I was about 25, and then just like a few takeaways and that, and a bit of alcohol, and that was it. Just like ballooned out. Metabolism
sort of slows down. But for me, it was kind of initially, it was such a good thing. I couldn't believe it. I was so pleased I was putting on weight that I kind of just didn't care. I was eating stuff that I knew would make me put on weight, but not thinking about now I think of things like your arteries and stuff. My diet and my exercise kind of lifestyle now is so different to how it used to be when I was younger. I think maybe it's just a growth. You grow older and you realise that you can't eat a certain way your whole life, and you can't keep drinking this amount and all this lot. Not everyone does it, but I did. I got to a point where suddenly I was like, hang on a minute, I've got boobs and I've got a belly.
No.
It was in the shower. I used to be in the shower and I'd look down and I remember thinking, I've got a little bit of a bump there.
Pressing them together. My milkshake brings the boys to the
Peter Griffin. I just think of it. But I remember looking down and seeing this little bit of a belly, but not caring. It was actually exciting because I was putting on weight. And then the next thing, it was, hang on a minute. But it's so hard to lose it. And so, as you'll probably find in a lot of these Green Room episodes, I've gone completely off the point and I've forgotten where I started.
You were just going to say, you lost loads of weight on the diet that I gave you and you looked really good.
That's it. I did lose weight on it. I was going back to my digestion, but...
And you actually started making some real good progress on changing your body as well, and then you gave up a little bit.
Yeah, there were factors involved in that. And this is... If I had to ask myself seriously, I'd say there's a bit of excuse in this, but there's actually a lot of truth in it. Going back to the digestion bit, Dave said, you said, just do it for 4 weeks, but you can't, it's not sustainable. You can't deny yourself all those things for...
It's not healthy.
No. And so I did the diet, the weight was dropping off. I think I lost... in the first 2 weeks I was doing my belt up an extra notch, and I couldn't believe it. And in about 4 weeks I think I lost a stone. If not a stone, it was the best part of a stone. But I remember being at work after 4 weeks and thinking, I'm going for it today, but I won't go crazy.
I told you you need to kickstart it all again by eating having what they call a cheat meal.
2 weeks in.
Was it 2 weeks in?
Yeah,
or was
I
it
did.
After the 4 weeks.
No, you said about 2 weeks in, because a friend of mine had passed away and we were having a send-off for him,
right,
and you said, well, use that. Just drink what you want, eat what you want, use that as your cheat day, which was about 2 weeks in.
Resets your metabolism again, so you start burning it quicker.
But after 4 weeks of eating no carbs and no sugar, I decided for breakfast that morning, I was going to have one piece of beans on toast, which in hindsight...
Heinz.
Oh, good. That should have been my joke. Wasn't the best thing I could have chosen for my first carb meal back, and I was at work. I was about 10:30. By 2:00, I could barely move for fear of something escaping. And I finished work at 3:45. I got home. I kicked the toilet door off the hinges, and all manner of things happened in that toilet. And it made me realise that my body had kind of forgotten how to deal with those foods in 4 weeks. And so because I was so terrified of it happening again, I instantly came back off carbs, and I did that again for like another 4 weeks or something. And getting to the point, I think I changed something in my body because I did it for so long. And now I have to be really careful. I can't eat all the same things I used to eat.
Yeah.
Garlic bread is
You
terrible.
gotta introduce it back in slowly.
One bean at a time.
Fire it back out one bean at a time.
But anyway, so getting back into it. So Dave used to be skinny, went away, got into a few bad habits, ditched his bad habits, got into exercise, got into getting buff, and that became his new addiction, and is offering advice and encouragement and motivation to anyone that will listen to him, which isn't a lot of people that know him, but he's got about 1,000 or so followers on Instagram. Is it 1,000?
Yeah, it was. It's gone down a little bit. It's probably 900 and something.
Haters,
yeah, all haters who just want to love to hate.
haters and spam accounts. Yeah, so that's kind of, there's more to it than that, and we'll probably elaborate on that at another time.
Yeah, go for it.
But so that's Dave. This is Dave DP, Dave Petty. Is it hashtag
AKA DP.
coming at you?
Hashtag mind, body and I am.
Check him out on
NBI.
Instagram. My first guest on The Green Room. Now, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if anyone's going to listen to it. I'm already thinking, that might not work. See, I'm videoing this podcast at the same time. Yeah. Dave's, for those who aren't, those people that aren't watching on wherever, YouTube, Facebook, every time Dave flexes his muscles, I'm going to add a bing little sound effect in there, just so you...
So you won't be able to hear any talking all through the thing, because it's just going to be one big long bing.
Just one big bell. So yeah, first guest on The Green Room, and we're just going to see how it goes. The whole point is just to talk nonsense and be as natural as we can.
Just like a normal conversation with Wayne, really.
Yeah.
Every day. Except
for the fact that Dave's here to bring me back to my point every now and again.
I might zone out. Pretend I'm just, yeah.
The thing is, I talk so much, I probably wouldn't even notice that you hadn't responded for a while. It'd just be me talking.
I'd have left the room, come back from the toilet. Oh, where you been?
Anyway, so going back to kind of Dave's muscles. No, going back to, I suppose, not being comfortable with yourself. This is kind of something I was thinking about recently, is I've got a habit or tendency, as you know, of saying things that get a reaction from people. And I don't say it to get a reaction. It's just me saying things that I don't think are a big deal. Or maybe I've just got a low, I'm not embarrassed easy. But maybe I've just got no filter, which isn't a good thing. Or maybe I'm just probably as comfortable with myself as I've ever been. And don't get me wrong, I've got like loads of hang-ups, loads of things I feel self-conscious about. I'm sitting here now sucking my stomach in. And like, just in case...
Not even I'm doing that.
No,
that's bad.
I'm sucking my stomach in thinking, any of these video clips we could use. And I'm thinking I'm draped over like a big baboon over the sofa. I've got these long gangly arms. But, everyone has got...
Great big baboon.
But, it's like... Clyde off,
I like that.
What's it?
I like that.
But anyway, everyone's self-conscious about certain things. I've got loads of things I'm self-conscious about. As much as I said I'm as comfortable with myself as I've ever been, if you ask me what are you self-conscious about, of 10 things I'd probably tell you 2, just because I'd be too worried about telling everybody my
gross legs.
I have got gross legs. Well, a gross leg. You haven't seen my zombie foot, mate. You should see my zombie foot. I'm not showing. I'm not showing you on the video. You're not seeing the zombie foot. You're not seeing it. But basically for anyone, I can edit this out. It doesn't matter. For anyone that doesn't know,
it's all right, is it?
I had some varicose vein surgery in my legs last year.
Leg.
Yeah, as Dave calls my gross legs. A year ago, just coming up, and some follow-up treatment recently, and I was hideously
Deformed.
I was gonna say self-conscious.
No, you're hideously
Thanks for that.
deformed.
But no,
To the point where you used to wear some sort of leg warmer thing.
like a calf support.
To cover it over.
I did.
Pretended that you needed some support with his calves, but really need some support with his feelings.
and my emotions. There was some truth to that. When I first started running years ago, and I was heavy, I think my body it was a shock to the body, and I got shin splints really bad. But it just helped that when I started getting these gross veins, that I had something to cover them up with. But funnily enough, my mum and dad made me self-conscious about them. I'd had them and I hadn't even thought anything about them. We were in the garden one day in the summer and I had shorts on, and either my mum or dad said,
"Look at them gross legs."
well, something to that effect. For the sake of the story, they said, "Look at them gross legs." And so I went to the doctors, and the doctors for years said, "Oh yeah, we don't do them on the NHS anymore. You'd have to go private and all this kind of thing," which I get to a point, because a lot of the time it's a cosmetic issue, and if someone needs something that's an operation that's life-threatening or something, then that's where the money should be spent. But as it happens, I paid for a private consultation. I was going to pay thousands of pounds that I didn't have to get them done, only to be told that I did qualify for NHS treatment, and I got them done on the NHS. But again, I'm going off the point. But that's one of my things that I was self-conscious about, but I'm not so much anymore. But no, loads of things. But yeah, I don't know, is it a good thing that I can say from your point of view? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I think it is. It's like people tend to lie a lot because of things like that, because they're scared of saying what they really want to say. And like, I always shoot myself in the foot all the time, not purposefully, like you said, or not to get a reaction, but I'd rather just say the truth or say it how it is, rather than lie or not say anything, because what's the point? I don't see the point.
I think on the same sort of thing as that, I have kind of become addicted to telling the truth. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but the amount of times, I don't know, I'm running late for work or I've forgotten to do something, and I'm in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, what could I say to get myself out of that? And in the end, I just think, do you know what? I'm just going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And I just say, I'm really sorry, I got out of bed late, or I'm really sorry, I completely forgot to do it, I'll do it now, or whatever like that. And it's really weird. I don't know, it's just really weird, because it's always easier these days to just be honest than it is lie, and then feel anxious about the fact that you might get found out about that thing that you've just lied about. It's a weird thing.
Yeah, like even if I know it's going to hurt someone or something like that, I always end up just saying it how it is now, because like you said, it always comes out in the end or something as a lie. So.
Yeah.
But things as like embarrassing and whatnot, I think as you do get older and that, you realise that no one's going to remember it next week or something like that. When I used to go out on a weekend and I used to do something completely stupid or something that I thought was stupid, even though everyone else is drunk and probably can't remember it, I used to maybe wait till the weekend after next, because I always know that someone else is going to go out there and do something stupid, and that's going to be the latest topic.
Yeah, you're old news by the time that's happened.
Yeah.
Talking of embarrassing moments.
Oh, no. I'm not doing
so
that.
This is a feature we've got on the green room, and it's called Embarrassing Moments. I've asked Dave to bring with him. I'm going to ask all my guests to bring with them a embarrassing moment from their life, or the most embarrassing moment. Some people might not feel comfortable enough to talk about the most embarrassing moment, but a embarrassing moment from your life, and talk about it.
I can't really not say that I'm not embarrassed about it now after I've just said that I don't like about talking about stuff.
Well,
Okay.
Shall I start you off? Shall I tell you one of my embarrassing moments?
Go on, then.
Okay. Okay, I'll do this. I'll try and think of one for each week, but there's literally a top 3 in most embarrassing moments of my life. Which one shall I start with? It's got to be the fart in the classroom. Have I ever told you about that?
I can't say I've heard the fart in the classroom.
Okay. So, I was about 14 years old, maybe 15 years old. I was at school. We had this horrible lesson called PSE, Personal Social Education. And during this one term, our teacher...
Is that like religious studies would be now, basically?
No, this is more to do with, I don't know, the community and growing. And I'm not an expert. I don't know. I didn't pay much attention.
Oh, the bullshit. Though.
Yeah, but I was in my class, and during this term, we had guest speakers come in to talk to us about different things from different backgrounds. You know, we had a fireman, we had a policeman, we had a town councillor. In this case, it was the town councillor. So you can imagine. It was so boring. It was so boring. And I apologise if this town councillor has heard of the green room just by pure chance and is listening to this. He's going to know who I was when he hears like the end of the story. So I'm sat there. My mate at the time, Tim Thornley, is sat where you are. So to my left. And I've got to give you like a real detailed view of this for you to understand. So I'm sat sideways on my chair with my back against the wall because my table was against the wall next to the door. The guy that's giving the speech is at the front of the class, giving this speech with his back to the dry whiteboard, whatever, to the whole class. And I can't even tell you what he was talking about. He was talking about his job. And I'm sat there, and I'd kind of gone into this bit of a daze, and just kind of, my mind went off because I wasn't interested in what was going on. And I felt the bubbles coming up in my stomach, and I thought, I got a fart brewing. And I wasn't one of these kids at school. You always got a kid in school that was always farting and everyone found it hilarious.
Yeah.
I wasn't that kid at school. In fact, everyone farts, but I did it in private because I didn't want, I was embarrassed about it. And I feel this fart coming, and it's important to note that we were sat on those hard brown plastic scooped bottomed chairs. So I'm sat on this chair, and my thoughts are wandering, and I'm thinking, I need to fart. I'm thinking, I was getting really uncomfortable fidgeting around trying to hold it in. And there have been times where I just relaxed everything, and it had come to the gates. And then it had just subsided and disappeared, and there was no shifting around necessary. And I thought, I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to stop shifting around. I'm just going to relax. And I'm sat there, and it goes, off with my thoughts. And I just relax, and this almighty bah comes out, echoed on this plastic scoop bottom chair. Everybody, including the guy that was talking, he stops talking. Everybody in the class, their heads spin round and they're looking at me. Even my mate Tim just looks at me in horror, and the only thing I could think to say was, Tim? And he goes red and he's like, what, like this. And the guy then carried on with his chat. I was absolutely mortified. And what was worse is there was a girl that I really fancied called Joanne Bradley, who sat on the opposite side of the class. And when break time came, I was so nervous about seeing her or anyone, because I was sure that someone was going to say, wait, that fart you did in class. And no one said a thing. Totally got away with it. But everyone must remember it.
Tim later went on to hang himself. Never came back to school again.
Never farted again. He now sees a therapist every week, just trying to release one fart, but he can't bring himself to do it. So that's my. I don't know if that's number one, but it's in my top 3 embarrassing moments. What's your embarrassing?
My heart goes out to Tim there, mate. That's harsh. That is really.
It
harsh.
is, but it was self-preservation.
Well, my embarrassing moment is. It wasn't really in front of a lot of people. There was probably only a couple of people there. I've told a few people about it and that, and I still laugh about it now. But I think I was about 16, 17 or something. We used to live in the hotel, and I'd been out getting drunk, as you do when you're 16, 17.
As you do.
As you do.
If you're old enough to get served. But, ladies and gentlemen, we should probably just stress that is not encouraged.
No, it's mandatory.
And drink responsibly.
Sponsored by Smirnoff.
Well, it is now.
Sponsored by VK. For all the teenagers. Anyway, we'll get this over and done with.
Do it.
Right, yeah. Out drinking, come back home. Must have been about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on a week. It was through the weekday. It must have been through the weekday because my brother was at work. But yeah, absolutely off my head drunk. Came back. Went in the living room. Pulled my pants down. Put on Babestation or whatever it's called on there. Doing as you do. Well, so drunk that I just fell asleep straight in the middle of it. Little did I know, my brother comes home at lunchtime from, I think he was working at
Was this a shared house, yeah?
This is the family house.
Right, okay.
Everyone was asleep upstairs, obviously. This was when we had the hotel, so
okay.
My mum lived in one of the hotel rooms upstairs and we lived in the basement, but you could still go upstairs. I think my brother must have been working a night shift, and he came home at lunchtimes and that. He used to eat in the kitchen and that. Well, there's a swingy door there, and it used to have like a porthole window into the from the kitchen into the living room. And he's come in, and he's looked through the window, like obviously the TV's been on, lights on, and I'm sat there like passed out on the couch with my pants around my ankles, with Babestation on the TV.
Box of Kleenex.
So he like pushes open this like swingy door thing and starts taking pillows off one of the couches next to it and starts chucking at us, trying to wake me up.
In a really subtle way.
No movement from me. I didn't wake up at all. So anyway, little beknown to me, he switches the channel over to it was like gay, I think it was called Gay Rabbit or something like that, which was like a gay chat thing or something. Switches it over, has his food in the kitchen, and has back off to work. Right? Gets to about 6 o'clock in the morning. John comes down for work in the morning.
Your stepdad?
Yeah, my stepdad, yeah.
My God.
He comes down from work in the morning. I'm still sat there, passed out on the couch,
so
pants around my ankles.
In
sort of some sort of pose.
Flaccid kind of attempt.
I can't imagine I'd have been very flaccid.
An unconscious, flaccid masturbation attempt.
With yeah, in the gay chat thing on the TV and that. John switches off the TV, goes, Dave, get up, go to bed. I just got up, went to bed. He left the room, obviously. And like, I didn't think anything of it. It was only when my brother came back from work in the morning and he told me what he'd done. And me and John have never brought this up ever the whole time.
Probably best.
So he's probably been going through ages wondering why I had gay
come out.
Gay thing on the TV, and then it's just something that's never been brought up. But
I think some things are
the most embarrassing moment, probably.
I think some things are better not brought up. Like some things like that. I can talk about the fart thing. I've got like a semi-sexual embarrassing moment, which we might get to in a later episode, and it features like me being at my parents' house, and that's never been brought up. I think certain things just you shouldn't talk about. But
everyone gets busted at some point, don't they?
So the question then is, did you fall asleep before it all kicked off? regardless of the gay channel.
Oh, I must have been like halfway through or something, just dozing away. No sleep, drunk as a skunk, and just like, that was it. Like,
brilliant.
Woke up.
I love the fact that your brother could have totally saved you from a load of embarrassment there, but in fact he added to it.
That's my brother all over.
John, if you're listening to this, you now know it's out in the open. Dave isn't gay. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay. Yeah, he's come out of the closet. But at the same time, if there are any gay people listening, Dave is on the market, and he likes falling asleep to gay porn. Thanks, Dave, for your embarrassing moment.
Wow.
I'll put in a wow moment there. Have you seen this Faceapp thing?
Kind of. I've seen a load of people looking old. I seen a funny one the other day. Well,
that's just old people.
Yeah, I seen a funny one the other day where it's like a bit of a sick sense of humour, and some guy, and then I
tried to think what you're gonna say.
His like old person picture was what's he called? That guy locked the girl up in Germany. I think it was his own daughter or something.
Oh, yeah, I don't know his name. I remember, yeah.
But it was a picture of him next to him, and it was just like, wow, that taken it to a whole...
That's...
Fritzl or someone, that wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Joseph Fritzl.
Yeah.
But it was just like, wow.
You're always
Some people have got, like, literally no filter.
People share this stuff around, but I've got mates that send me stuff, and you're like, oh my God, everyone's got one mate that sends them something horrendous all the time. But yeah, but no, Faceapp. So I've got that. That isn't a plug, by the way. I'm not telling everyone to go and download it, but it is quite cool. Something I found was quite good. It is aging yourself, then re-importing that photo and aging it again. I've only done it twice so far, but I did one for Kaz, and just her first one looked like Dot Cotton would look in about 10 years from now. She was like, delete it. But no, it's quite cool though.
It's only a selfie, wasn't it?
Oh, dicing with death.
Edit.
Dicing with death. But no, I think it's quite cool. I've had sort of some of those apps before that just put lines on your face and stuff like that, but this actually, even the texture of your skin and like the bagginess of your neck, it's really, really good.
They had one on Snapchat, didn't they, where it used to turn blokes into women.
Yeah.
And women into blokes. This
is far more realistic. In fact, okay, we're going to put some pictures up on the Facebook page and, other relating social media of this podcast, some pictures of us on the couch, all that kind of thing.
Bing, 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 bing.
Dave brought a pinball machine to the podcast, and we're going to do an aged picture of Dave, or we'll do a dual selfie on the green room sofa, aged. So
sponsored by Faceapp.
Sponsored by Faceapp, that you have to pay for if you want any of the other features. I've got the free version, by the way. Anyway, check it out. And actually, that's quite a good one. If you've got Faceapp, do one of your Faceapps of some kind of thing, whatever, a funny picture of you in a funny scenario, and stick it on the Facebook page. It'll be quite funny. We'll see how many people...
Yeah, you should just rip it like Gordon Ramsay does with rate my food. You should rate my face.
Rate my face. Yeah, rate my face. The thing is, you're asking...
Sound like you're saying rape my face.
Well, maybe that's an app waiting to happen. Maybe it's... I can imagine someone probably send in a picture and I'll be like, oh mate, that is so hideous. That's brilliant. And they're like, no, I didn't use the app. That's just a selfie. So, anyway, moving on. Dave, you are a fan of the action movie, are you not?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Favourite action movie?
Probably like Commando or something like that.
Not Rambo?
I watch Commando or Conan more than I've seen Rambo and that.
Okay, I've seen Rambo. Rambo First Blood's my favourite. The two in the middle I wasn't massively keen on. I found that they were a bit of a victim of that like mid to late 80s over the top macho thing, whereas the first one was really good. But the first one was based on a book, you know. I think the second two second two, the following films were actually written for the screen, but First Blood was a film based on a novel.
I was thinking Sly wrote it, wasn't he? But he
did the
Rocky.
Screenplay probably.
Yeah,
but
he did Rocky, didn't he? That was his screenplay for that.
Well, so have you seen that they've done a new Rambo?
Yeah. Dick. Yeah.
Do we need it?
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
You think?
I can't. I don't know. I thought we could have done without the Expendables. Like, to be honest with you, that just seemed like a money making franchise.
Oh, it definitely was.
People who are running out of money.
It definitely was. It was like, as much as I like those films, it was very much let's just get all the people I've worked with previously and people that I want to work with all together in the same film.
Yeah, it was all right, but like all them other old ones and everything. You know what? It's been so long since I've seen a new movie and actually liked it as much as I like old movies. I can't seem to get I can go through the whole dialogue of certain old movies because I've seen them a billion times, but I can't watch a new movie like that anymore. I don't know why.
Do you not think it's okay? I think it's a couple of things. One, it's probably nostalgia because those movies remind you of things.
But I felt about them the same way when I first seen them. So it wasn't obviously it can't have been nostalgic the first time I seen it.
Yeah, that's true. I think these days, there's so much pressure to make so much money in the opening weekend of a film that I think they've just fallen into this whole thing of it's all about special effects, it's all about the stars that are in it, and make loads of money. It doesn't matter. It's like a spectacle, And back in the 80s, and this is going to sound one of those, and 90s, this is going to sound like one of those, when I was a boy, or whatever.
No, you're right, though.
But they made good films. They were making films that they wanted to tell a story. So they made a film, and they told a story, and they were good stories. Die Hard, great story, great film. Rambo, all right, they made it out of from a book. They did loads of films from a book. Jaws is one of my all-time favourite films. That's based on a book. The Goonies. And, all right, there's an element of nostalgia there because I think about, carefree, you were young, you didn't have any responsibilities, so maybe the memories of those films hark back to how you were feeling, and it was great. But there are a few exceptions. There are still films coming out that are still telling stories, which I'm going to get to in each podcast of these. I'm going to be doing like a movie of the week. Wayne slideshow, I think we're going to call it, because a friend of mine says you can't come round my house without me either showing you a bit of a film, a photo of something, playing you a bit of a song. So I think we're going to call that little feature the Wayne slideshow. But it's going to be about films that I feel need to be watched, but maybe haven't got the recognition they deserve because of all the massive blockbusters that dominate the cinema. I might be wrong about some of them. I don't know.
Like pretty much all the films I tell you to watch that you don't watch.
Actually, no, I've watched Snatch now.
Oh, yeah.
I watched, when I had my gross leg done, I had some time off work, and I had a movie list of films that I've still got it, and I've kind of halted it for a bit, but films that I should have seen by now that haven't, like The Godfather. I saw a bit of that recently.
Mate, that'll take away hours of your life. It's good.
Yeah, what I saw of it was good. I saw it at my sister's, but I need to watch it from start to finish.
They're like 3 hours long, each film.
Yeah, and there's 3 of them, isn't there?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I just think that I don't know why it's changed. Perfect example, okay? Predator. One of the best films ever made.
Yeah, definitely.
And bear in mind, we're not talking something that will win an Oscar. We're not talking about acting quality and cinematography. We're talking about pure entertainment, rewatchability, quality. And so Predator made it, brilliant film. Second one, half decent, not a bad film. Apparently they wanted Arnie to be in the second one, but he was tied to Termination 2. Termination? That was the film. It was a B movie. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. So he turned it down, and that's why he did. That's why he didn't do Predator 2. But the third, not the third Predator, but the most recent Predator, The Predator, got really excited when I find out.
Is that with Adrian Brody?
No, that was Predators. That was the third one.
Oh, right.
Oh my god, I could talk about this all day. We won't. This might have to be another subject. But okay, I'll include a few features. I'll get back to where I was, and that is that the fourth film, The Predator, that came out last year. I think it was last year. Found out that it was coming out. It was being written and directed by Shane Black. Right, Shane Black. For anyone that doesn't know.
I haven't watched this yet, you know.
Don't watch it.
I've just thought I haven't actually watched it.
Don't watch it. It's terrible. I think you even said you'd give it a miss. It angers me that they even made it. I'll tell you why. So it's written and directed by Shane Black, who wrote Lethal Weapon, created the characters for Lethal Weapon.
Is that not who Hawkins was?
Yeah, exactly.
Predator,
yeah, he was a producer on Predator. He was even, apparently he was sent as a producer and on the film because it was John McTiernan, the guy that directed it. It was one of his first films, if not his first big budget film. And they wanted someone to keep an eye on him, make sure he stayed in budget. And they wanted someone who would be available for script rewrites on the go if they needed them. And he was Hawkins. He was the one with the 80s style glasses who kept telling Billy, "Hey Billy,
Jeez, you got a big pussy."
So why did you say it twice? Said I didn't.
Want some candy?
Well, anyway, he was the actor in there, and he also did Iron Man 3, which I thought was quite decent. So I hear he's on board. I get all excited, thinking, brilliant. He's gonna pull it back to that 80s style, like quality. Sort of sci-fi horror action film, and it was probably my least favorite Predator film to date, and yet it had so much potential to be like the best thing since the original.
Like you said, they just jump on the whole it's the whole special effects thing and whatnot, and
it is. And also what I found with it was the main character, that they put too much comedy in it, which ruins it, because when has Predator been a comedy film?
Yeah.
I'm all for comedy. I love comedy, but not, choose your humorous moments, but don't make it a comedy.
It's the same problem with that they spoiled it with comedy.
See, I really like that film, but I do know where you're coming from.
They spoiled it with the comedy, like the kids and that, the jokes and that they were making in it.
It was almost like every time there was a scary bit, they followed it up with a bit of comedy to kind of settle the mood. But I did really like it. I'm looking forward to the second one. But so anyway, yeah, the main character was so like macho and so invincible in it. He's too tough. Not at one point during the film do you fear for his safety or doubt that he's going to win and he's going to beat the Predator. And you can't invest in the character when it's like that. It stresses me out. Does my head in. So maybe we should have done a little link there into another feature called "Does My Head In?"
That grinds my gears.
that might have to be another feature. So anyway, we went off again. I'm gonna probably do this a lot, but action movies. Favorite Commando?
Yeah, Commando or Conan or something like that. It's got to be an Arnie film. Arnie's like a lifetime hero. My dad introduced me to him when I was a kid.
Well, you met him, did you?
Yeah. I was
bing, bing.
But yeah,
we're not worthy.
My hero. I think he was probably my dad's hero, as much as he probably wouldn't admit it. Maybe, I don't know. He was between him and like Kurt Russell or someone like that.
Yeah, Kurt Russell's cool.
I'm saying that Escape to LA and Escape to New York is the original was Escape to LA. I think
New York.
Was it? New York?
LA was the sequel. Yeah.
New York was really good. I thought I really liked that film. Actually, LA was good as well. That was another good action movie. Underrated them. Like I said, I like it. That's my kind of movie, like 80s, 90s action.
Yeah.
It's they do have their bits of cheese in there.
So going back to those sort of films as well, is that I think the best. I'm going to upset people here, but from films that were made in the 70s, with the exception of like Star Wars: A New Hope, Jaws, and a few others, the 80s going on to maybe the early 2000s were really, really good.
That was the era
of films. They're really, really good.
Definitely the best.
And they just seem to have got into this whole thing of rebooting films rather, doing unnecessary sequels. You know,
like a Total Recall. I never even, to be honest,
I didn't mind that. That was quite good.
I watched it, and I just from the fact that it was like an Arnie original Total Recall, I just couldn't bring myself to watch a revamp of that with some other person.
I think the reason they got away with it to a point is because they changed the storyline a bit. I think there's always going to be a really fine line between. You're always going to get people that go, they changed it too much. Then there's going to be people that go, oh, well, it was basically the same film with different actors. So it's finding an area between those two things where you change the story slightly, but not enough to be completely different.
Is that the alien woman with 3 boobs? Is she on that?
I think she is actually. But in this one, spoiler alert, in this one, it's rather than Mars, there's been like a nuclear thing, and there's a fallout zone that is quarantined, and they're not allowed to go there.
Oh, yeah.
And she, I think, is a victim of like mutation because of the fallout. Right. I think that's what it is. Don't quote me on it. Makes me wish I had 3 hands. But yeah, all those films are really good. Like, you know, anything in the 80s, anything with Arnie in the 80s and early 90s was brilliant. Sylvester Stallone, that was his heyday, wasn't it? I mean, I like the Marvel films. Do you like the superhero films?
I couldn't even really comment on any of them. I'm really not into Marvel or DC.
Well,
I watched a few Batman movies when I was younger, and then nothing else really interests me. Men in pants, like running around.
You'd rather be sat in front of the TV falling asleep, wouldn't you? With a box of Kleenex. You don't want to go to the cinema to watch that.
Oh, no.
You're never living that down now, boy. But actually, someone put in the comments when I asked for ideas for the Green Room, someone actually put Marvel movies and the way they've impacted modern cinema.
Yeah, and loads of people walking around with pants on over their trousers now.
You're in heaven, aren't you? Walking down Ilfracombe High Street. That's why you got into working out in the first place. And
says me here with the Punisher vest on, I suppose, because I don't like Marvel or DC. I don't even know which one Punisher is.
The only thing you're missing now is shaving the chin part of your beard off and walking around with a tash. Movie of the Week. So each week on the Green Room, as part of the Wayne Slideshow segment, I'm going to be doing my movie of the week and my song of the week. We'll get to my song of the week a little bit later, but basically, as far as the movies are concerned, I've seen a lot of them, some better than others, and I've seen a few that were kind of like surprisingly good. Didn't really know much about them when I watched them, just put them on, and just really surprised how good they were. I want to point you in the direction of some of those films, just in case you missed them, and hopefully get your feedback on them. Let me know if you've watched them and whether you thought they were any good. Let me know if you've watched them off the back of my recommendation. So my movie of the week this week, week 1, episode 1 of The Green Room, my first movie of the week, is a film called Chef. Came out a few years ago. It's written and directed and stars Jon Favreau. You might know him from the Marvel movies, Iron Man, etc. Plays Happy Hogan. It's also got Scarlett Johansson, Dustin Hoffman, and a small role from Robert Downey Jr. So some of those Marvel people in the same film. It's about a guy, a talented chef, Jon Favreau, at a restaurant owned and run by Dustin Hoffman. He's a little bit kind of suffocated, not allowed to sort of cook some of the things he wants. and basically gets a bad review from a food critic, quits his job, and doesn't know what to do. He gets the chance of going across America to pick up this kind of old mobile food van, I guess, which he does. He goes across America, picks it up, does it up. His son meets him out there, his young son, who he's kind of not seeing a lot of because he's estranged from his wife, etc. And it's just about him kind of going back to basics with his cooking, traveling back across America, causing a stir on social media with all these new things he's cooking, and rebuilding this relationship with his son that he's kind of missed out on from working at this high-profile restaurant. It's a really good film. It's heartwarming. It's easy watching. And like I said, it was one of those ones we just put on one day, hadn't heard of it, and it turned out to be really good. So check it out. I'll put a link to the trailer on my Facebook page. So go and have a look, and if you like the look of the trailer, then watch the film, and then let me know in the comments if you liked it, if you watched it off the back of my recommendation, and also let me know if there's any films that you think I should check out, and if I can, I certainly will if I haven't already seen them. So check it out. It's called Chef. That's my movie of the week on episode 1 rather, of The Green Room. Are you ready, Dave? We've come to...
I was born ready like a baby.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because we now come to our new feature. It's all of it's new, to be fair, because it's a new podcast, Dave. I don't know if you realise. Called The Green Room. Share it. This feature is called Names You Wouldn't Call Your Baby. Cue the jingle. Names you wouldn't call your baby. Mama. So... In this feature, it's literally just on the idea that you got a lovely, pristine, brand new baby. Okay, he's lovely. He's there, totally,
Baby in the place up.
I was gonna say untouched. Can't really say that. He's totally brand new, totally innocent.
Cute little baby.
Cute little baby. I'm gonna ask each of my guests what name you wouldn't call your baby. Names that were probably acceptable years ago, like mine, for instance, Wayne. My name a couple of years ago was on a list of names that, as of, I think it was August or September, hadn't been registered on the new babies registration list.
So your name's on a register somewhere.
That's another one. So I'm qualified to do this, okay? Wayne, I like my name. It's all right. I never really thought anything about it, but
it's a grown man's name, isn't it?
It is. Thanks, Dave. Cheers. We'll leave it at that. I'm not even going to come back with anything. So this is a name you wouldn't call your baby. It can be a man's name. It can be a woman's name. So we have my little dry whiteboard here. So Dave, I hand you my little baby. I'm like, oh, look at this beautiful, lovely little baby. And for instance, it's like, what's his name? Brian. Right. It's not necessarily, Brian is a strong name. It's a strong name for a man, but it's no name for a baby, is it?
No.
There are lots of these names. Certain names, however, like Edith, names that would probably have, kind of old-fashioned names, have had this resurgence in popularity, and now they're cool. Harry, Henry.
But you can change them to suit like a little kid, can't you? Like,
yeah.
You call a little kid David, but you wouldn't really call your little baby Dave, would you?
Well, your parents obviously did.
They called me David.
Oh, okay. I would love it if your name was Dave on your birth certificate. So anyway, each week, sorry, I moved away from the mic there. Each week, I'm going to ask my guest a name that you wouldn't call your baby. And we're going to record it. We're going to write it on this little dry whiteboard. And I think what we'll do, we'll collect them over a series of weeks. And at the end of the series, I'm thinking maybe we'll do sort of maybe 10 episodes if it warrants that. Have a little bit of a break. But at the end of the series of episodes, I think we'll put it to a public vote of all the names we've got on the dry whiteboard, and we'll choose the number one name that you wouldn't call your baby. So, Dave Petty, drum roll please. What name wouldn't you call your baby?
I think Trevor. Baby Trevor. You can't even make it. You can't even baby. You can't even Trev. It's like Trev from down the Queens, down the pub. Like it's
a man's name, isn't it?
It is a grown man's name.
Trev is the guy that sort of hangs out at the door of the Queen smoking rollies, probably with like menthol filters or something, and like yellow teeth. Apologies to anyone called Trevor. I know someone called Trevor actually. He isn't like that, but
Bit of an op though, isn't he?
Not getting involved on that one. So you're going with Trevor.
I'm going with Trevor. You can't make that into a baby.
Okay.
You can't make anything cute out of the name Trevor.
Okay, we're gonna go Dave Petty, aka DP. He's going for. I didn't leave myself enough room. He's going for. I'll rewrite this. It'll be fine. He's going for Trevor.
That's like he just appeared one day as like a 30-year-old bloke. There's no getting around
out
it.
of the womb, out of the Queens. Right, the Queens is a pub, by the way, in our town. Cool. So you have popped the cherry on names you wouldn't call your baby, Dave. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel like I've just enlightened the world.
I think so. I think you probably offended a few people as well. Basically all the Trevors out there. So that's going to be a regular feature.
I'm looking forward to seeing some names on that, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I've got some great ones, but I kind of feel that maybe I shouldn't contribute to it. I think I should leave it to my guests.
You should leave your last one. You should do, on the last one, you should do one yourself.
But then if mine wins, then people are going to think it's a fix.
Well, it's always going to be a fix.
It's my podcast.
So I keep being told.
Yeah. Don't forget it. Okay, so another thing that I'm going to be asking my weekly guest, amongst other things, is something that annoys them, something that enrages them, something that makes them want to rant. We may even rename this like the rant corner or something. I don't know. We'll think of that. I probably should have been prepared since this is episode 1, but it's evolving the whole time. Dave Petty, what annoys you?
If I go out and stuff, obviously, like being quite big and awesome, and muscular.
You must struggle to get through doors.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Doors are just not big enough nowadays. No.
Every door should be a sliding door, shouldn't it?
I have to go through sideways, basically. Nah. It's other blokes who've got to come over and tell me about how having big muscles doesn't make you hard.
Oh, okay.
Like
sizing themselves up.
Basically, yeah. It's like they've got to come over and validate the fact that just because you've got muscles doesn't mean you can beat them up. Even though I'm not asking for any sort of input on the matter. But
you mean you don't go into a pub and literally stand there waiting to like start on everyone to prove that you are the biggest bloke in the pub?
Yeah, I know. Can you believe it?
No, I can't believe it.
I just ooze that out, apparently.
Can I throw something in with that as well? I bet also you get a lot of people attributing your mass to steroids.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I can imagine that's something. And also, I bet, do you ever get people compare gym muscles to strong muscles?
I hate that. It's not very functional. Not functional. You can't just go outside and pick something up. But yeah, I can.
Well, I gotta say though, I saw a video. Oh God, what was it on now? It was a video recently, and it was oh God, this is so annoying. I wish I could remember who it was. But it was a guy, and he was like bodybuilder, and his brother was there, and his brother wasn't a bodybuilder, and they played this thing, and he stuck a sticker. I might have seen it on Facebook shared, and he put a sticker on his own back, and then he went like that, put his hand behind him and upwards, pulled this sticker off his back, and then he stuck it to his brother's back and his brother's head, and he's there, and he's reaching over the top, he's reaching underneath, and he just could not get this, and everyone's just cracking up laughing because his lats and everything was so big he couldn't reach this sticker.
Yeah.
So I can imagine when you get to those kind of leagues that it is like it's not very functional.
Yeah.
But
I wouldn't. Yeah. Not even. That doesn't interest me one bit. Like them sort of people who like can't even tie their own shoelaces.
Oh yeah.
Wipe your own arse properly because you can't literally get that far around with your arm. Like you said, you can't even touch your own back.
I struggle tying my shoes just because of this here. I'm sucking it in, by the way. Oh, well, that's a cool one. So that's the thing that annoys you.
But yeah, it's like, it's almost like alpha, beta, male kind of thing. And these are sort of people who think they're the alpha male, I guess. But when you look at like the animal kingdom and that, the alpha male never actually states that he's the alpha male. It's always whoever's challenging the person is the alpha. I'm not saying I'm the alpha male, but I'm just saying you don't come across as the alpha male by going over and validating yourself to someone else. That's
probably insecurities on their part, to be fair. It's probably that whole I gotta prove to myself and everyone else that I'm harder than that guy. But what does it matter?
I know, yeah.
It's
literally like people I'd never even met before coming over to me to tell me about what they do in their personal life, or how they're some sort of tough street fighter or something like that, and that gym muscles don't matter. And it's like, I've probably only had about 3 or 4 fights in my whole life. Like, it doesn't really interest me anymore, anything like that, nor has it really interested me in the first place.
There's probably two main kinds of people like that then. You've probably got people that are like that, and then you've got the opposite where people go, all right, mate, how's it going? Oh, you lift here? And then they want to talk about weightlifting because they see someone that has got something they've got something in common with.
Or ask, oh, I'm thinking about starting the gym, will you take me? That's something that I always get asked. The amount of people drunk, when they've been drunk, ask me to take them to the gym or show them to do the gym. And like, it's just one of them things when you're drunk, I guess. I think when you're switching over to Neanderthal mode, and you've got to, that's what you've got to do, apparently.
Well, Dave, while we're there, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you and say, wanted some gym advice or just wanted to follow what you're up to, see the epic, torso pictures that you sometimes put up, motivational posts, where would they be able to find you?
Oh, I've come off Facebook, haven't I? Which was my only page for that, and I might.
You must have something like what do they call it? A Insta.
Yeah,
the youngsters.
I've got an Instagram still, but that's sort of delved back into my own thing again, and like where I've been thinking, that was the person who I needed to be at that time. And I needed that, and now I've kind of evolved into something else. And I thought to myself, in all that time and effort I've put into that, and changed myself to the way I wanted myself to look, and that's what I needed at the time. I'm thinking, if I can do that, and I put all that time and energy into something else, like, I don't know, like making money of some sort, of doing a business or some sort of other idea, then I should be able to achieve whatever I want to achieve.
Yeah, but do you know what? At the same time, it's nice to have an outlet as well. I know sometimes they can become like another job almost. They take up a lot of time. But it's like this. I do my music. I play my music, and I like doing that. But it's almost become a bit of a job. And as much as I love it, it's not so much of a creative outlet. This is literally. I don't know if anyone's going to listen, but I'm going to get a lot of like flack for it. People are going to go, who cares what you think, Wayne, and all this lot. And that's absolutely fine. But it's just something I want to do, and I'm sure someone out there will listen. And it's an outlet. I'm not doing it for anyone else other than for myself. And just it's a good chance to sort of catch up with people I haven't seen for a while and just talk a load of nonsense and stuff. So
that MBI thing was for me as well. Like I said, it was always for me, and then to people who didn't like it, to people who still ask us, when you're doing another video or something like that. And another reason why I did come back from it is because I if I'm not in the right frame of mind, or I'm doing stuff that I shouldn't be doing, or something like that, I'd be a hypocrite. I wouldn't be practicing myself what I'm preaching. So until I'm actually like that and I'm doing that thing myself, then I can't physically do it, because I'd be a liar basically.
Yeah, and
I don't want to be that.
That's fair enough. You've even said like that on some of your posts. You've said about how up and down you are with things and all that kind of thing. So you could still. I'm trying to encourage you to get your Mind, Body and Iron Facebook page back up and running. Well, that's about it, I think.
Yeah.
So that was good timing.
Thanks for having me on here.
Thanks for sitting on the couch and telling us about your masturbation
The casting
stories. So I just ask him one last thing. If you see Dave in the street or anything like that, and you've heard this podcast, I want you to do two things. One, I don't want you to go up and size yourself up against him because it's not clever, it's not funny. And also, I want you to shout across and go, "All right, Babestation!"
Cheers, that.
That's
nice
right.
one.
I'm joking. Don't say that. It wasn't. It was a gay program. It wasn't Babestation. So basically, that's all that's left for me to say is thanks very much to my first green room guest, David Petty.
Hopefully the last.
AKA DP, #MBI.
Thank you very much.
And check him out on his Instagram and hopefully new Facebook page.
Hopefully.
Old Facebook page that's just been
revamped.
So, cheers. Say bye, Dave.
Bye.
No, you're supposed to say bye, Dave.
Bye, Dave.
Cheers. So two of my passions, as many people might know, are movies and music. I can't do a movie of the week and not do a song of the week. Inevitably, there's always a song that I've listened to more than other songs during a week. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a new song. It could have been a song. It could be a song that's been out for years and years and years. In this case, it is. So my song of the week this week, if you're into the Marvel films and you've watched Infinity War, you'll probably know it from the scene where the Guardians of the Galaxy are introduced about sort of, half an hour, 40 minutes into the film. And it's a song called The Rubberband Man by The Spinners. And if you haven't heard it, you should definitely go and download it or listen to it on YouTube. And if you have heard it, then just go and listen to it again because you'll know how good it is. So let me know what your movies and songs of the week are. If you've watched a really good film this week, let me know. If you've got a song stuck in your head that isn't the little jingle to names you wouldn't call your baby, let me know in the comments, and we'll see you again on the next episode of The Green Room. See you soon.